So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are watching this episode of our Business Success series. Thanks a million for joining us today. This series gives me the chance to talk to some amazing business owners across the country about their businesses. And I dive in deep because I ask them about what's worked for them, what challenges they may have faced, and what are the innovations and technology that is impacting their industry. So without further delay, let's get started today. So today I am delighted to welcome Mr. John Rownan from Lowerfees.ie and specialgifts.ie, as we can see there. John, great to see you this morning, and thanks for joining me on the Business Success interview.
Delighted to be here, Des, and hello, everyone.
So, John, we obviously go back. We know each other a long time. From BNI, I suppose, was the main instigator of our relationship, I suppose, and we've been in a number of chapters together when we visited other chapters together. So great to have you.
I'm delighted to be here, and I think it was about 6 years ago I did a 2-day training course with you, and that was fantastic. Really benefited from understanding a lot of things about business at the time, which has probably shaped some of the kind of things that I've been doing over the last 6 years to some degree.
Excellent, good stuff. Great to hear that. Okay, so I'm going to start off. As I said, I want you to tell me a little bit about your own business. I want you to tell me what inspired you to start your business in the first place.
Well, I guess I've always been a bit entrepreneurial, and I started working for myself right after I finished college, really. But over the years, I changed. I did a big career change over 6 years ago. I moved into the B2B world of sales, and I guess one of the things that when I took a job with a company 6 years ago, but then I wanted to work for myself again. And I think one of the things that influenced me a lot was being in the space of networking, being around other small business owners. And when COVID hit, I had been working in sales, and I thought, well, I need to find something new to do because I've been impacted by COVID. And I looked at partnering with other companies as an independent sales agent. And I think that's something that started me off on my reignited my own entrepreneurial journey, and learning about different key things that business owners need. And one of the things that really attracted me was the ability to help business owners reduce their costs. And that's what led me to launch Lowerfees.ie. I originally traded under a different name, and I rebranded because I thought it's a catchy name. But I think it's been something that's inside me in terms of wanting to help people that is kind of always driven me, that I like the idea of helping people, and that's what kicked that off. And then likewise for specialgifts.ie, it's something, again, I wanted to learn about e-commerce, learn about how things work. So I guess the thing that inspired me there was about a learning journey and being able to help others. That's what really kind of drove me to go down the routes that I've gone down.
Yeah, look, you've mentioned lots of things there, John. Particularly Lowerfees.ie is about saving businesses, in particular, money, cutting costs, and it's certainly one of the areas that you've probably heard me talk about at seminars and webinars and workshops that we've hosted. Is that's a really big part of making a business more profitable is managing their costs. And yet it's amazing the amount of businesses out there who don't look into their costs as much as they should do, because there's money to be saved there.
Absolutely. And look, it's not always about saving money. The thing is, it's always finding the balance between finding the right quality, the right provider, but also understanding the costs. And I think that a lot of people don't actually understand how much of an impact cost can make on your business, because your profit margin can be massively changed. At the end of the year, if you're not watching the costs, then that can have a big impact. And that could, obviously, in the last couple of years, people have noticed huge problems with the energy costs, because electricity and gas have just been through the roof.
Huge.
But even still now, people are not necessarily shopping around and realizing that now they can reduce their costs. Like every single week, I get different rates from different energy providers. So I'll actually see that, okay, well, right now, these are the best rates this week. And then I look at some people's bills and they haven't changed in years. and they're paying more than double they should be. So literally that could be thousands of euro every single month that could be just thrown down the drain, essentially being paid to other providers rather than actually going back into the business and into the employees and business owners' pockets.
Yeah. And again, one of the things that people hear me say quite a lot is revenue feeds your ego, profit feeds your family. And we can be very, very busy throughout a period, throughout a month, a week, a year, and come out the other end of it with no profit left, because we don't check the costs, we don't manage our costs, we aren't close enough to our figures.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I see it all the time, even in the credit cards payments industry as well. There's a lot of these modern tech focused companies that have come onto the market that managed to take a lot of market share because they got in at the right time and they've got a simple enough solution for someone who doesn't really know or is not well educated in that industry, for someone to literally just start up. But the fees can be very, very high. And an example would be the likes of SumUp, right? The SumUp, a lot of market traders, a lot of people started using that 1.69%. Well, that's okay if you're only selling at a market and your sales are very low in terms of volume. But if you scale up, it's just a very, very expensive solution compared to some other providers out there. So it's really about finding what horses for courses, what's the right provider for your particular business and industry. And that's where it's all about education. What I find, a lot of what I do is educating people about what's the right solution, what's the right option for their business, and looking at it not only from a cost saving perspective, but also from a technology perspective, what that needs to be integrated with, or these kind of things as well. So it's really to find the match, but education and understanding the overall environment, the overall need and solution is really where it should be.
Good stuff. I want to move on, and I want to talk about maybe some challenges. You've mentioned, changing your course and your journey a couple of times. So what significant challenges have you faced in the business, and how have you overcome it?
I guess I've had different challenges over the years, but one of the things that I found is that in the credit card payments industry, people have had maybe bad experiences with certain providers. There's certain providers that have a bad reputation in the market. So if I were to speak with someone about their credit card systems, they, from a sales perspective, they're number one, they're kind of challenges. Well, who's this guy? Who is he? What's his background? Can I trust him? Is he reliable? Is the provider he's going to set me up with going to be reliable? And this is always a challenge. Building credibility and building trust. So people literally will do business with you. They know, like, and trust you. So it can take a long time to build that. So one of the challenges I've had is that, and I've learned that it's about the timing. It's a matter of you build the trust, build the time, and you build the rapport, and then when it's the right time for someone to switch, then they'll come back to me. So I'll often have people who come back to me after maybe 2 or 3 years after they first got to know me. So it's really about the timing. And how I've managed to adapt my own business from starting out purely in the payments industry. People were asking me, well, do you also do electricity and gas? And that's something that I added in because I saw that actually it can help me balance my own business, because if you only have one main channel, then I'd see that as a danger in business. You need to have, I think, at least 2 or 3 channels of different kind of services that can help support. So if one thing is not quite as strong at any particular time, the other things can help balance it out. So it ended up that by expanding my own services to be able to help businesses reduce costs for electricity and gas, that helped me to find more balance in my own business and be able to offer a more holistic solution that I can help people with multiple services rather than just one.
Yeah, but I think you touched on a really important one earlier on, actually, which was trust. And visibility, credibility is obviously very important. And the other thing I want to just reference is it's what we call the customer journey. Like, not everyone is ready to do business with you today. But when they are ready, at the moment they're trying to make a decision, should they, shouldn't they go ahead with whatever it is they're deciding. When they come to making that decision, you need to be the first person that they talk about to say, we'd be mad to go on anybody else. And that's how
Exactly.
we can build up those relationships over time, just to make sure that when it comes to decision time, you're the first choice.
That's it. That's it. That's the challenge, and it's to, obviously that's one of the good things when you're in a networking group. People will think about you as the first person that they can call, they can rely on. You're building trust through contacts, and through just being there. People know you're reliable. They know you're going to look after them. You're not going to be someone who's just going to sign them up with something and then disappear. Because for me, it's all about, my whole business is all about being there in the long term, being there to really work with someone closely into the future. So rather than, if you contact someone in a bank, or a payment provider, for example, they might be able to get you a good deal on that moment, but then when you want to get support, you may not be able to reach them again, or they may have moved on, or there's all kinds of things that can happen like that. Likewise, if you phone up an energy company, you don't know who you're talking to, but again, it's more like, for me, a really core part of my business is to build that trust and rapport to be able to be there long term.
So you've mentioned a couple of examples earlier, actually, but I want to talk about a time now where maybe you've had to pivot your business, or pivot your model or your strategy. What prompted you to change?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned there about the energy, and what prompted me was market demand, partly because people were asking me for it, because they saw others in the space that were acting as a utility broker, and they also did credit card systems. Whereas, I consider myself very knowledgeable in the payment system. It was something I had to learn about to get into the energy space. But that did open a lot of doors for me. And then once I did that, I then, a big pivot for me was then where people were asking me, well, can you also help me out for my home energy? And I didn't want to do B2C before, but I then started looking at it as an opportunity, because the B2C space was not really being covered by the same kind of brokers. It was being treated by different kind of energy company providers that were actually focusing on B2C. And I saw this as an opportunity for me to be able to enter that market and help people, because a lot of people were not really, they might have checked some things out for their business, but not for their home. And I realized that actually it's a nice little additional there that I can go to in collaboration with helping promote the marketplace I created, which is called specialgifts.ie. So I've got a new kind of rewards platform set up, that when someone signs up, for example, for their home utilities with Lowerfees.ie, they will get a little small token of a gift from specialgifts.ie, which is able to help let people know about that as well. And they're getting a little extra reward that they wouldn't have gotten from their energy company directly. So the price is the same, whether I sign them up or they sign up directly on an energy company, the prices are the same. For B2C in particular, there's just a couple of options, and they're there on every single energy company's website. It's all transparent. So they're not going to save any money for the home utilities by signing up with me rather than signing up with the energy company directly. It's exactly the same process, but it's the additional service. It's making it easier for people to make the switch. And it's the convenience, I think, is what I've learned about a lot that people want. It's the convenience, not just saving money, in particular for home utilities, because you don't want to have extra hassle. So my business, although it's about saving money, it's also about making things easier.
And we're going to talk about hot button issues in a later question, because it's there. I'm interested to hear about that side of your business. But you've mentioned a couple of key points there in what you've just said, that it's not always about price. It's about value. It's about convenience. It's about, other services. When you tie them together, it makes you that natural choice to say, should we be mad to go anywhere else? So it's not always about price.
No, it definitely isn't. Price is always a part of it. And, there is, I think, in how people make decisions, they're going to look for value, like you mentioned. They're going to look for, well, reliability. I think number one is it safe? Is it secure? Is it reliable? Those are going to come higher than anything else, But then if you've got a similar option, okay, well, I'm fine at the moment. things are working, it's not broken. Why would I change? You're generally only going to change if you've got a problem, and your problem could be that your prices are too high. That's a genuine problem, and this often happens because there are plenty of providers out there. Whether it's your energy, you might be in fixed rates for a year, and then afterwards they might put the prices up, or else prices in the market might have come down in the meantime, and that's a problem you need to move to get better rates. And it's generally quite easy to change with electricity and gas. It's just a standard thing that people do every year. But where it comes to payments, the whole payments industry is a lot more complex, and people don't like to change their credit card system. They think it's hassle. They're afraid. It's all about what you don't know. It's all about what you don't know. And it's a fear, and fear drives a lot of people to stay where they are. So I think when you can help show that you don't have to be afraid of change. Psychologically, people don't like change. But if we can get around that, and as a person say, okay, well, now I'm open, I'm ready to change because I see there's a problem, then this is where things can be improved a lot. And I think it's like for yourself, Des, where I imagine that a lot of people are stuck doing similar things. So for my clients, if they're stuck with a credit card company and they're afraid of change, at what point is the right time to change? Is it going to be because they have a problem, or because they realize, well, I'm paying through the roof for a service that actually we can reduce those costs significantly? So it's a matter of just finding the balance, getting the right price, and then the right service that goes with it.
Yeah, absolutely agree with everything you've said there. And fear is a huge blocker. And people's comfort zone, people's inherited beliefs. I'm sure it's grand. We're fine the way we are. And I think that has a huge impact on us making those decisions. So 100%. Before we go, just to talk to us a little bit more about specialgifts.ie. Because obviously Lower Fees is your bread and butter, but Special Gifts is a really interesting pivot for you. So tell us a little bit about Special Gifts.
Yeah, so it's an all Irish marketplace for gifting. Basically, there are about 100 sellers from all around Ireland. They might make their own crafts. We've got artists who might make custom or like commissions, as well as funky greeting cards, to prints, to others who make quality Irish made soaps and candles and creams and all these kind of products. But it's all really about quality and supporting local, because they're all made in Ireland. So that's something that's really important. And that I think, I like to support local myself, and I like quality. So rather than seeing a lot of stuff that's brought in from abroad in bulk and everything kind of looking very standardized and similar, you're getting a lot more kind of meaningful kind of gifts. A lot of products can be personalized as well. I think personalization is really nice when you're giving someone a gift and you have that extra touch. So that makes it a bit more special, and that's the concept of Special Gifts. And so my role at it is I don't hold any stock. I provide the platform so that we've got their sellers who can create a shop for free on the website, and they're able to sell through it. And I guess the way I'm adding value there is that some people don't need to have their own website, because the cost of setting up a website, the cost of managing it, all the additional things, the marketing that goes with it, Google ads, all of these different things that can be a headache for when someone's starting out in business. And the cost can be so much higher than paying a small commission on our site. So, we're able to save money and add value for a lot of businesses there as well.
But again, one of the huge advantages in what you're talking about there is the expertise. I mean, a lot of people, myself included, we're not social media or marketing experts. So to have a platform where you literally open up your virtual shop and it's all posted and supported for you, it must be really appealing. It's literally just starting off. Am I right? It's in its first kind of year, or?
Yeah, we celebrated 1 year a couple of weeks ago. I've relaunched a whole new website about just in the middle of October. So look, I guess that a big learning part for me as a business owner has been managing multiple people doing different tasks over that kind of project, where I never class myself as a web developer or anything like that. I don't class myself as an expert marketer. So what I do is I will, contract people or hire people who will do certain tasks for me for that.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able to balance it, because I have people who are managing it for me.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So let me move on to the next question. Future trends. So what do you kind of foresee future trends in your industry, and how are you preparing your business for that?
I guess the one of the ways I see future trends is around the payments industry in particular, because payments are changing. At the moment, if you look at Bitcoin and the crypto industry, they're all like Bitcoin hitting new highs this week. It's been quite an interesting time to see that. And I think as there's more and more adoption of digital currencies, that's going to really change things, as well as open banking. There's a lot of innovation in the industry. And so I guess where I'm looking at the future in the payments industry is around, how to adapt to change to be ready for when the market starts really changing to open banking and to accepting cryptocurrencies, whether it's in a credit card terminal or online in a payments gateway on websites, via payment links, things like that. That's something that is moving in the industry. And another thing that's moving in the industry right now is being able to turn your phone into a credit card system called soft POS, where essentially someone just taps their card off your phone, or taps a phone to phone. And this is very innovative at the moment. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of change in the near future about that. But overall, it's really about matching technology with other services. And of course, the likes of energy, it's very old fashioned. So how I'm adapting to trends right now is I'm trying to develop a new system on my own website for basically automating what I can automate and making it easier, for example, to remind someone a year later when they need to switch, to basically use automation where I can, to enhance the kind of support.
Very good. So you've mentioned quite a few things there. One thing, and we mentioned it earlier on the interview, hot button issues. So hot button issues are problems and frustrations and concerns and fears that people come across every day. So obviously the obvious one is I need to get control of my costs, or my energy costs are a good example, probably, as you mentioned. So how are you able to overcome these issues with the solutions that you offer? So what are they, and then how can you overcome them?
Yeah, well, energy costs, people understand that, they need to change every year. That's just the way it is. And if some people haven't changed in quite a while, they see huge savings. There could be, it could be literally half the cost. And there was one chap who switched just not too long ago, saving 25 grand on his electricity and gas. It's a small business, not a huge turnover business. 25 grand, that's basically all gone from his net profit that he previous year. If he had that saving, that would have been all added onto his net profit.
And so I say that all the time, John, that where you save money, where you reduce your costs, that money goes directly to your bottom line, directly to your profits.
Yeah. So for something like that, it's a no-brainer. Fears around, like I mentioned, around credit card systems. It's really a fear because of the unknown. It's like fear of hassle, fear of that. And so sometimes it's just a matter of kind of waiting for the right time. I'm not a pushy salesperson. That's something I like to help people, and I don't want to ever try and chase someone to go hound someone. It's not my style. So I would rather wait for someone to come back to me, and who generally wants to work with me. So I guess that's something that would be my own personal style. Maybe I could do better as a salesperson if I was a bit more pushy, but that's just me, But other kind of issues that people have is really just to understand. It's education. It's to understand what could be the right fit for them, and to make it easier. So whereas someone, if someone goes to some bank or provider, they might send them a cold list of things that they need, and they need to fill out so many different forms and documents and get so many things. I will make it simple. I'll say, literally, if you send me the top of a bank statement, where I can then I'll write down the name of the business, the address, things like that. I'll look up the air code if need be. I'll actually do that actual admin to save people hassle of writing out everything. So I'll make it as simple and easy as possible. And I think this helps a lot. Because again, it's going back to convenience. People don't want hassle.
Yeah. But it builds up this whole trust that you were talking about, the credibility that you talk about. You know, and I often think that the reason a lot of people don't change is because they don't know what they don't know. So they've kind of bought into, well, this is the way it is, and I don't realize there is a solution. The other side of that is people are just too busy.
That's it. That's it as well. Most of the time, I do spend a lot of time educating people, and one of the biggest areas where people spend a lot of money is online payments using the likes of Stripe. And they're waiting several days to receive their payouts and things like that. Whereas, with other providers, you can literally get half the cost of Stripe, and you also can get paid out the next day in full with the monthly bill. And there's other things you can add on, like some business owners, they might even want to get like money for stock, and they can get a merchant cash advance where they can get money up front and pay it back over time. Through their credit card sales. There's things like this that can also be brought in. And so people just don't know about this, and this can make a huge difference to how they can grow their business.
Do you only operate here in Ireland, John? Do you operate in the States at all?
Not in the States, no. I do operate across the UK, and I can in theory help some businesses in Europe, but it's mainly here in Ireland that I operate.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So lots of experience, lots of knowledge, lots of pivots, lots of challenges. You've overcome them. So what advice would you give to someone who's looking to start their own business today?
Just from an overall business perspective, really focus on market need, what people want, what's the demand, do some research. I have had a kind of a tech company before that was based around helping people with bringing technology with payments together. And, that was something that I learned a lot, that you really need to do your homework in terms of what's needed. But it's not just what's needed, it's also the competition. Do your homework on the competition. What are their strengths and weaknesses? What is it? Why would someone go to a competitor? I think that's something, and it's again, it goes back to the trust, reliability, and when you're starting out, that's very, very hard. It's very hard to get the initial kind of momentum, and so you're gonna need to have some kind of a network or support of people around who are going to trust in you, and then they're going to become your first customers, and then you can build on your credibility from there. But I think the beginning is really about learning about, are you really solving a problem in the market, and exactly how can you solve that in a way that your competitors are maybe not able to do it as well. So for me, it's really about, there's so many competitors in my space. It's a very, very competitive market, both for the gifting as well as for saving money or changing credit card systems, anything like that. So for the gifting, from my whole thing as well, you're supporting local, you're supporting Irish businesses, you're finding something that's quality, that's meaningful, that's really can be personalized, and adding that extra value there. Whereas with anything to do with the credit card system, it's all about, well, you're going to be able to get answers anytime you need. Like, I've got clients that they might have a tiny little question, and they'll literally ping me on WhatsApp. It could be an evening, it could be a weekend, anytime, and I come back to them straight away. So it's that extra bit of service that they're not going to get from another provider, and that's, I guess, a unique selling point for me. So what is your unique selling point? How are you going to stand out, and how can you really make an impact? So I think that would be my advice.
Great stuff. Yeah, and I think there's a couple of things that I would add to that. Love all your points. Demand, USP, knowing where your position in the market, really, really important. A couple of things I would add is, you got to constantly learn. Things change, and I think there's an old saying out there: the more you learn, the more you earn. And I think constant learning, we call it lifelong learning, obviously, in BNI, but it's really, really important. The other thing I would say is stay close to your numbers from the very start. Stay close to your figures. Know your numbers. And my last piece of advice I would give is keep it simple. Sometimes we try to overcomplicate the hell out of stuff. And I just think we don't need to. I think keep it simple.
Absolutely. And with you on the numbers there too.
It's all about staying close to your numbers. So look, John, hard to believe that that's it. Half an hour of an interview gone in 30 seconds, it felt like. It was great having you on. Really enjoyed our chat today. Guys, if anyone wants to reach out to John, there's the information. It's lowerfees.ie or specialgifts.ie if you're interested maybe in setting up on the platform that's there. Reach out to John. John, as I said, super to have you on, and I look forward to our next meeting at one of the BNI meetings, I'm sure, in the near future.
Delighted. Thanks so much, Des, and thanks everyone for watching.
Cheers. Talk to you soon.